Hello everybody, welcome to Today in Media, where we highlight the 5 stupidest hot takes from media personalities and outlets alike. We actually don't have the ladies from The View today, thank goodness, because I don't think I could stomach that anymore. But we do have a mainstay, Tariq Nasheed. I'm your host, Will Riccadella.
I'm your co-host, Julia Nista.
Let's get right into it. Let's start with number 5. We have Jimmy Kimmel, who has been in the news lately, which is vomit-inducing. Jimmy Kimmel came up with a tweet talking about McCain being a hero because John McCain isn't going to vote for the Graham Cassidy bill. So pretty much, Jimmy Kimmel said in his monologue the other day in a show, as he talks about healthcare very proficiently, you see, because his son was sick, which is very sad. But, he said that his only expertise, admittedly so, was eating pizza. But let me tell you all about how, the healthcare. Am I right? What does this guy know about healthcare?
Oh, you're absolutely right. I think in this tweet, he's 1 for 3. He says hero, hero, and a hero again. Definitely a hero when it comes to being a veteran. But the other 2 heroes, when premiums are extremely high and Obamacare is forcing people to pay taxes instead of getting health insurance, I don't consider that to be heroic, honestly.
I mean, Jimmy Kimmel couldn't even keep Sarah Silverman around, so that seems to be like you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm tired right now of all the rich media elite who can cover all of their costs by themselves telling what the average American should do when it comes to policy, because I don't think that they're in tune on the same level with that.
Also, Jimmy, show me where all these kids were dying before the implementation of Obamacare. We've only had it around 3 years. We did okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here.
Yeah,
You're here.
Too. Yeah, we are.
Anyway, moving along, let's hop right into number 4.
So, number 4, we have Sally Cohn. She decides to
Who's
tweet.
That guy?
I don't know. But
I don't know who that is.
From her Twitter, I really couldn't tell. I'd
You
be
must have picked him.
interested.
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how he identifies.
Right.
Maybe she identifies. Anyway, Sally Cohn decides to tweet about sexual assaults, and she says that Trump is to blame, of course. So what do you think about that, Will?
I think that Sally Cohn could give a damn about due process rights. I mean, I don't know how you comment on political issues if you don't even know the rule of law. I mean, what all of a sudden now, because, a gender that doesn't exist dictates whether kids on college campuses have due process rights.
Mm-hmm. It's all about Title IX, but really, why is she mad about this issue when she's not mad about the fake rape accusations at Duke? She's not mad about the fake rape accusations at UVA. So why are you going to call out this one particular issue when really you could be calling out everything else that's going wrong with Title IX issues?
And what do you know about Trump's private life? Mm-hmm. Like, where do you get off saying that? Anyway, let's move on. I don't even know who this guy is. Let's go into number 3. Tariq Nasheed. This guy seems to be on the list all the time. This time it was a tweet. He's, Rocket Man, little fat boy Kim Jong-un, or Il, or Bob, or whatever this guy's name is over there. Yes, thank you so much.
There's one of them. There's going to be 0 of them soon when we knock him out. But anyway.
Anyway, this guy calls Donald Trump a dotard, which is a word that's very archaic. It's probably because the only book that they haven't burned is one with that term in it from about the 17th century. But anyway, he actually uses the term to call Donald Trump a dotard. It's like, what side are you on?
No, exactly. Like, you're deciding to side with the communist dictator who has sex slaves and he murders people for fun instead of going with the leader of the free world. Your use of describing Donald Trump with that same word puts you on that side, in case they didn't know.
Also, Tariq, you've just ensured that Donald Trump will get elected in 2020. Mm-hmm. Moving along, let's go to...
Go ahead. We have number 2. AP decided to fail today when they called out Betsy DeVos for using her own plane, a private plane, to travel around the country, which just seems to be dumb. What do you think about that?
Well, their tweet implied that Betsy DeVos is flying in private jets at the taxpayers' expense. If they looked into it for 5 minutes, they would have saw that Betsy DeVos pays for this herself. It's really a non-issue. It's fake news.
Complete non-issue. And actually, congrats to Betsy DeVos for using her own plane, her own money, instead of taking taxpayer money to go around and do things. So good on Betsy.
And I mean, this is where the fake news moniker comes from, where all the journalists complain they're in danger. Stop doing things like this. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do. Actually be a journalist. I don't know. Do your job.
Yeah, maybe you could do your job and then we wouldn't have to cry about things that aren't not in news.
And in the top spot, we have an Obama alum, David Axelrod, on CNN, who said, roll tape.
You wrote an op-ed saying, David, that you cried when Obamacare was passed. In the wake of this news, what is your reaction now that we're learning that Senator John McCain, once again, will vote no on the Republicans' health care bill?
Well, my reaction is relief on behalf of millions of Americans who were on tenterhooks waiting to see exactly what the Senate would do. I did cry the night the Affordable Care Act passed, and I cried not because I thought it was a great political achievement for the president, though it was. I cried because I have a child who was young then, she's not young now, who had a chronic illness, epilepsy, and the out-of-pocket costs that I had, even though I had insurance, I was a young newspaper reporter then, were $1,000 a month for her medications that weren't covered. I couldn't move her because she had a pre-existing condition. The Affordable Care Act brought help and assistance to people who were in that position, and there were so many Americans who were literally sleepless because they didn't know what's going to happen next. So I think John McCain just brought some relief to their minds, and that's what I'm thinking about today.
Basically, what David Axelrod is saying is that he should actually write a book on how not to get laid, and it should be called "I Cried When the ACA Passed."
Yeah, I think it's pretty ridiculous. David Axelrod is looking at the government like it's our savior, but I'm pretty sure that I can do a bunch of things without our government. I'm pretty sure that we existed and our healthcare was fine before the Affordable Care Act. We're almost at 250, we're about 230 right now, so we've been going for like, I don't know, 2 centuries, 2.5 centuries without the Affordable Care Act, and I think people will keep going on without the Affordable Care Act, so you didn't need to cry about that, David.
Pretty sure I was the guy crying when I had to sign up for something I couldn't afford to begin with. So why don't you leave the crying to the little guy there, David?
Yeah, absolutely. And on that point too, like, I'm crying for all the average Americans who had to pay the tax and the fine instead of getting the insurance. Like, that's who I'm crying for. The average everyday Joe.
And the everyday people in the United States of America are paying more. David Axelrod's the guy crying. I mean, again, thank you for getting Donald Trump elected in 2020. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. You'll see us again next week. If you have any tips, you can see our Twitter handles down there in the lower left. Shoot us your tips. Thanks again for watching. For Today in Media, I'm Will Riccadella.
And I'm Julia Nista.
Watch again next week. Thank you so much.